Yo, what's up? My name is Caleb Williams, and welcome back to the Poker Odyssey. In this week's episode, we grind out another one at Rounders, and I give a little bit more of my backstory. So, who am I? I'm a 30-year-old from Austin, Texas, and I grew up the son of janitors. As you can imagine, we weren't wealthy. I think it's important to note that I never knew exactly what I wanted to do in life, but I knew I wanted to own something or work for myself. I graduated high school in 2008 and then went off to college. I was ill-prepared, and for a multitude of reasons, I did horribly. I had to find out my next move, so I joined the Air Force Reserves. After years of working a low-paying job and getting deployed, I finally saved enough money to get back to school. Along the way, I joined the world's greatest fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. I eventually graduated from college with a BBA in finance in 2017. While in college, I played my first hand of poker for real money. I got my head smacked for $300. I left the casino, and I was buzzed because it was my first time at a casino, For whatever reason, I took a shot at the game the next day. Through what I now realize is pure luck and no skill of my own, I left the game with over $1,100. I was blown away with $1,100 first and foremost, but also seemingly how easy it was. This was the first time I saw a potential way to make a lot of money that wasn't sell dope, rap, or go to NBA. Over the next couple of months, I won a few times and I was hooked. I remember sitting at the poker table and thinking, I finally know what I'd do if I had a year's worth of money saved. But unfortunately, life is unforgiving, and the idea of playing poker for an income was pushed to the back burner. As soon as I graduated, I started working in an industry that finally provided me with discretionary income and allowed me to ask myself what it is that I wanted in life. Working at 10 to 6 and seeing the disparity in company revenue and compensation on a monthly basis didn't seem to be it. I finally tasted what having excess money was like, but freedom and balance were more important to me. The thought that I had at the poker table came back to me, and I thought, why not pursue something that I wanted to do? If I struggle during the process, I'll be okay because I've struggled before. Those thoughts pushed me to wanting me to quit my job. I hadn't quit yet, but I was introduced to Nimi's vlogs. Through watching his vlogs, I wanted to create one of my own. Of course, there were problems. I wasn't knowledgeable in poker, and I didn't know how to differentiate myself. I also didn't want to be scrutinized as a poker content creator. I ignored the latter and came up with the Poker Odyssey. Poker, traveling, vlogging. With vlogging and a poker career in mind, I built up the courage and finally tell my boss I was quitting. I was jobless, yet full of hope and ambition. I was a professional poker player, and I was going to play and study every day. I didn't, but I was still killing it. That got me thinking, this can really work. Positive variance can make the most novice of people think that they're good at something. I know I wasn't great, but if you would have asked me to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have said I was probably a 7. I thought I was a slightly above average poker player, and then the next 3 months happened. Long story short, who I was as a poker player became clear, and I went busto. I had poor bankroll management skills, poor life roll management skills, and I wasn't good enough in the games to crush like I thought I would. Don't get me wrong, I was a winning player, but not at the level that I needed to be to live a decent life. As is the case with most professionals, those 3 months were crucially needed. I crawled into a hole and started licking my wounds. While there, a few things happened. I started trying to look for answers. I quickly found out that the answers to questions that you don't even know to ask are extremely hard to find, especially when everyone wants a buck for that precious information. Don't get me wrong, good information is definitely worth the money, and I'm not opposed to paying it, but I'm also not going to give it to you unless I trust you. Everyone is trying to take your money either in-game or by providing their knowledge, and I'm left feeling so unsatisfied. I didn't trust anybody in the poker world, and then Mike Paso happened. One day, YouTube suggested a video on the Mike Paso scandal. That video was S4Y Stone's allegations. I watched the video because I had seen a couple of Stone streams and I knew who Paso was. I thought it'd be good entertainment and a good way to get me through my day. Oh, it was. It was so good, in fact, that I started watching the Vlogcast series from the beginning. I did so mainly just hearing the first few episodes. Then I listened to episodes 10 through 12 with Matt Berkey and Nick Howard. They started spitting fire. I'm talking about straight fire. The way they spoke about the game was a way I never heard the game being spoken about. I mostly just heard, this is what you do with this hand on this board texture in this scenario. Here's another hand history. And asking other players about their strategy only resulted in, I know because I've been playing poker for 107 years. Hearing Berkey, Nick, Chin, and Jai talk about poker reinforced the idea of me not being a professional. I realized I was playing pickup level basketball in high school while there were whole NBA players straight yoking on fools. S4Y differentiated themselves from other training sites by talking about advanced concepts rather than just hand histories. Now, do other people talk about these things? Probably, but they were unable to convey that to me outside the paywall. These advanced concepts I heard them talking about intrigued me and made me sign up for S4Y TV. I joined the community, and a few months later, they came to Austin. I'm a super lucky guy. I mean, the moment I walked into TCH Austin, they were opening up a new 1-2 table. Corey, Zeus, and Conrad were at the table, and we were eventually joined by Chris K. I guess I made an impact because they invited me to hang out with them. Chin and Lamanna joined us the next day when we got barbecue. I had such a blast, but they had to get back to Vegas. A few days later, COVID shut down everything, and soon Berkey started streaming, and I was there daily to help them with whatever they needed help with. I guess this garnered their attention even more so, and Chin offered me a stake on stream. It was profitable for both of us, so I moved to Vegas. The rest, well, that's history. If you have any questions or comments on my backstory, please leave one below. Now, let's get to these hands. I'm gonna keep it a $150 with y'all. I've been grinding on these edits, trying to get the vlog out. I hope y'all enjoyed it, by the way. But I ain't played poker in a week. That's about to change though, because we're on the list for rounders. Let go. In the first hand of note, we get dealt a 6 of diamonds under the gun. We open a 10 and get 2 calls. On the flop of Jack 7 2 diamonds, it checks through. Double jack boards are trash for an early position open, but there may be some consideration to betting with a nut flush draw. The turn is a dusty deuce of hearts, and after the big blind checks to me, I opt for a delayed c-bet of 15.
Yo, you see that deuce of hearts? It changes nothing. You probably shouldn't be betting that card after checking the flop.
Man, you tripping. It's gonna be alright.
Alright? Okay, get punished with this race to 45. What have we learned? What? No, fold! No! You called? Oh my god. Do you have the odds? You need to consider if you get paid if you hit or not. 8 of spades. Now what? Yeah, check fold to his bet of 55. Fish.
Alright, enough with the shenanigans. We have deuces and they never loses. I complete for 15 in the big blind after the button calls an early position open. The flop is 8 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, deuce of clubs, and it checks through. There's not enough money in this pot, so I bet 25 on the turn 10 of diamonds, getting the early position player to call. The king of clubs comes on the river, and we bet $65 for value. He calls, and we're good. We need some leg room, decide on a seat change, and the next hand we play is a B-E-A, a beautiful ace king offsuit. We open the 15 under the gun over a button straddle. +1 calls and +2 makes it 60. When another middle position player calls, I think the play here should be a 4 bet to get a heads up. I also think we want to have the betting lead out of position. But, you know, woulda, coulda, shouldas, and 4 players see the flop of ace-7 deuce, 2 spades. I'm super excited about this, and when it checks through, I put +1 on a small to medium pocket pair, maybe some king-queen type hands as well, and +2 on jacks through kings. I can't possibly imagine the type of hands the middle position player would want to call with, especially when he's not closing the action. I like my hand though, and when we see the turn 5 of clubs, I bet 150. Everyone folds, and we scoop a nice one. My favorite hand is any version of ace-queen. There's some backstory to it, and if you want to find out what that is, make sure you follow me on IG at The Poker Odyssey. We have the offsuit variety in middle position, and after early position raised to 10, we make it 30. Heads up to the flop of ace-4-6, 2 clubs. I see bet 20 and take it down. I'll throw in a button straddle every now and again, and this is one of those times. We have ace-10 offsuit, and this is the perfect candidate to raise to 25 when 2 players limp. Only 1 player calls. The flop is queen 3-7 rainbow, and he checks to me. I opt on a c-bet of 15, and he calls. I get better showdown value when my 10 is paired on the turn, so I check back once he checks to me. The 2 of spades on the river changes nothing, and I probably can go for some div value once he checks. I decide not to though, and potentially miss some value when I beat his medium pocket pair at showdown. We're looking to ride this momentum when we get ace-king offsuit as our final hand of note. We open the 10 from +1 and get the cutoff to call. The flop is ace-10-9, 2 clubs. I can't really justify it as a good play, but I decide to check. In game I was thinking, this player has folded to a lot of bets, and I have the ace of clubs, so a check might be okay. Now I'm thinking there are a few hands he can continue with on this board. Some ace-x, some pairs, and quite a bit of draws. He checks back, and we both see the 7 of spades. I bet 15, and he calls. When I get 2 pair on the river, I bet a larger sizing of 40. I guess my story didn't make much sense to him because he takes about a half minute to call. We add this pot to our stack as we book a win. Just getting back to the Airbnb. Session went well, played well, ran well. Everything's good. Was a little bit tired though and focused on the vlog, so I called it quits. Made it back home. Gonna do some editing. Session stats are here. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll make sure to get back to y'all as soon as possible. And if you haven't already, of course, make sure you sign up for S4Y TV.